At this video I tell about An-24 Soviet aircrafts, legendary aircrafts. I fly in Prepare 3D. First you need to fly at these aircrafts. You need to download this model. Go to AFSIM forums. I posted link to downloads in description of this video, and I load in default Beechcraft to set the aircraft's code and dock states. I turn off all system in these aircrafts and go to vehicle menu and reselect my model. I select Antonov An-24. I install paid version of these aircrafts. At AFSIM you can download free version. If you need paid version, HD texture and other cool features, you need write email to author of this texture. I posted his email in descriptions of video, and now I choose this model and reload it at the sim, and you see aircraft at code and dock states. It's this moment I turn off fuel system, turn off always pumps. With default code and dock states at this panel, and you see very beautiful modeling aircrafts. It's very best modeling for free versions. Beautiful textures, more details of the models. And at these flights I am in Rome, Italy, largest airport. I have short flights from LIRF airports to Campo del Oro airports. 233 nautical miles distance of my current flights. I planning takeoff at 34 runways, and at these flights I show how to start up this model and navigation using NDB and VR beacons. In these flights I'm not use GPS system, KLN it's named in these aircrafts. To control my flights I use my utility. You can download it from my channel. You can download my utility in this playlist, or you can show other my flights on English at this playlists. Other Russian best aircrafts, Tu-144, Tu-154, Il-62, Il-76 and other flights. Or you can download my utility with playlists. In describe of video you can see links from downloads my utility if you need. Or you can use FlySim Commander to control your flights if you need. And now we can start up with aircrafts. Before the flights you need to run loader of this aircrafts. Go to prepare 3D, sim objects, airplanes on 24 and with folders you see folder utils, load manager, and run it. It quests you where aircrafts KFG files. Select it and press open. Set the fuel units. I usually fill the fuel by eye. I set 50% of tank of this aircrafts and I press random passenger loads. And I see at center of gravity of aircrafts. It is necessary to establish the center of gravity in the range 25%. It's normal to these aircrafts. And when I press apply to load the aircrafts, this section needs to be before you load the model. I do it earlier and I exit now in my load manager. In the real life this aircraft has 3 navigation system, and air navigation system, RSBN navigation system and GPS navigation system. In this model only 2 of them are implemented, GPS system and VR system. I show in these flights only VR system. To start up the model, press Shift and 6 key and you see this panel. At this panel you can connect GPU at the aircraft. When I press this red arrow you see many vehicle at your aircrafts. You can start up the engine using the native battery system or connect GPU system. I use built-in battery and I disconnect the GPU. If you press at this green lamp, you see at the engine, and you not see changes. It's remove the core from the engine. And I now set chocks from chassis, and at this little panel you can call all of the panel in 2D of this aircraft's autopilot's panel, overheads panel, left and right panel. Now at this time I close this panel, go to aircrafts and connect the battery. These two switches connect the battery. I set this switch to the up position and it does not work properly. Yes, it's little issue of this aircrafts. And I go to the 2D panel, press Shift and 1 key. You see all gauges of these aircrafts. And to connect to the power, I press Shift and 3 key with battery switch, and it's doesn't work properly. It's a little issue with aircrafts. And I connect the power. Connect to the battery to network. And now I close this panel. And now I set up the fuel panel. This is default states of this panel. If you not see these states, turn this switch to up position, this switch to up position, and other 4 switches to the up position. Connect the fuel pumps. Set the parking brakes. And open this cover and remove the screw from the stop. It's normal position at the lens. These 2 switches of fire hydrants I set to up position and close the core. It's need to start the engine. And now I start third engine of this aircraft. This aircraft not has APU, it has 3 engines. And to start you need to start main engine you need to start third engines. First you need to open fire hydrants of third engines, see the green lights, set main switch to on position, this switch to start up position, open this cover and press this button. When you see at these 2 gauges, you see we start the APU or third engines. And when it's stay to 100%, go to overheads and connect generator of this engine with switches in this switch, sorry. And you see and third engine connecting to network system. You see supply voltage of these gauges, and at the default states where you see switch of AC converters connect to network. In default position it stay in this position, and you need set you to the up position to connect the generator of third engine to network of aircrafts. And at the real life you need to power up over first engine its throttle in the pedestal, but in this model it's not released. And now you can start up the main engines. To do this, open this cover, open the protect case, and set main switch to start position. I start left engine, and I set this switch to left engine position. Open this protection case, set the switch to the up position, start at the lens, connect PRT24 standby generator, and press this button. This lamp show you to the engine is starting. And I forgot set up this gauges. It control vibration over engines. Sometimes later the engine is starting. If the engine is not starting, go to 2D panel, press Shift and 3 key. Shift and 4 key, and check this pump at this panel. If the fuel pumps is disconnected, connect it at this panel. And now I control the temperature and engine speed at these two gauges. And now I start right engine. To do this, I set the switch to right position, connect PRT24 and press start button. and whiten. Some time later, engine is starting. And now I'm going to my overheads and connect the generators of right and left engine. Disconnect my third engines. Connect AC generator. Connect AC converters. Its name PT1000, PT100s. Control my voltage if you need. And I forgot to turn on the fire protection systems. It's with set with gauges to up position. In this model, not modeling the lamps, it with gauges. And now I set the switch of this panel to default position. Always off. And over third engines. Close all protected cases. Hydraulic system is not modeled on this model, and it show 0, but it is work normal. And now I set parking brakes. I press Shift and 6K, remove the chocks from chassis, close this panel. And now I connect all system to a network, set window heaters, sets horizons, and turn on altimeters, radio altimeters. If you need, you can turn on lights of panel lights. At this panel I set navigation lights. Turn on fuel meter. And other gauges. Sets pitot heaters. Так. At the bottom position is control position, at the up position is work position. With gauges. And now I set the navigation system. I need to set the current latitudes. I press Shift and Z key. My current latitudes is 41, and I set it at with gauges. I alignment standby horizons. Press this button and hold it before it aligns. The warning lights is disengaged. At the horizon situation indicator, I set my current course. I see it on my compass. I see my current course at FlySim Commander. It's 114 degrees. I set up my gauges, and when I press and hold this button, when I press this key, I wait until this dropless does not stop. You see it moving, and I hold my key. Hold my button and wind until it's stopping. It's stopping, and my navigation system is alignments. Now I need to correct my gyro compass. To do this, I set my current course at these gauges. It's same course of this radio compass. I set same value at this. And when I press Shift and 4 key to call this panel, at this panel you see this selector. It's selector, name it course setting. And I use this selector to customize the airplane pointers. Set it at the left and hold it. And my airplane's pointer indicates right of my course. And now my navigation system fully alignments and ready to flights using the weather beacons. It with 2D panels with gauges not work. I close it And now... And I see little issue, my angle of attack show me bad angle, but I am on the lens. Don't worry, it's not problem. And now I connect my radar, turn on the system and set it to weather radar. You see it with gauges, weather situation of aircrafts. And now I set my trim. I set it to -6 degrees. You see this value at tooltips with gauges. When I set my flaps, I use a joystick to set it to 15. It's second position of the flaps. And you can use these gauges to set the flaps. Connect the autopilot system, power on it. And with yellow lamps show you the autopilot is ready to start. But at this time I not start autopilots. Flaps set, trim set, altimeters to 0. With altimeters and first officer. Altimeters you need to set to 0. And now I say about the autopilot system. Its 2D panel calls to press Shift and 5 key. Autopilots of these aircrafts not fully automated. It's only help you to flights. It can trim stabilization, pitch stabilization, and has three modes of landing navigation, but its navigation is only manual. You not automated navigation at with aircrafts to connect it to GPS or other navigation system. To set the landing navigation mode, use this switch. It's 3-position switch. In up position you can change landing navigation, use with gauges with selector. You need to click it right or left button of mouse, and it sets the bank angle of aircrafts to rights or to lefts. If this switch sets to bottom position, you can set the course of aircrafts using this gyro compass. You may set it to course units and aircrafts go to this course. Now I set my current course and I use these modes of landing navigation, or I can use these modes. If you press middle of mouse button, it stays to middle position, and I am not use this mode of autopilots. And now we're ready to taxi. I press Shift and 1 key, set the beacon lights. Oh, my horizons is not alignments. It's 2D panels. When I turn on my taxi lights, control all of these panels, and now I'm prepared to navigation. Set to navigation where system to on position, and go to my map and set the ILS beacon and course of my takeoff. Runway 11.55. Set ILS frequency and set its course. Three, 4, 1. Course of my ILS. If I need to land it. And this two lamp is disengaged. It shows me the aircraft see my ILS beacon. If you need, you can set the squawk code. Press Shift and 2 key and set it with gauges. I should set random code. Close this panel, and you see at the horizontal situation indicator the ILS marker, 2 white line, and now I set the NDB beacons. I need it to my flights. My first NDB beacon is I set this beacon 421. To set this beacon I need to start with gauges, set this selector to comp 1 position. When open when I set the frequency range using this gauges, I need to set 421. And I set this base value and sets 1 using this gauges. If you need and you hear the Morse book with beacon of this beacon, and when I set next beacon of my flights, I turn on with gauges. Click left mouse key on this selector and sets my next NTB beacon. Its frequency 480. I set it value on with gauges. And now I see my first NTB beacon. Directions. This needle marked 1 show me direction to my first beacon, and this needle not show me my next beacon because it's out of range now. And now I'm ready to taxi. I change my camera. Set parking brakes off. Power. Increase my power of engines. And go to my runway. To comfort to orientation at the airports, I start up my utility, loads my flight plan in it, and now I connect FSU IPC and see my aircrafts at the airports, and now I'm taxiing to my runway. I see traffic aircrafts taxiing to same runways. In these flights I not call ATC to enable my flights. It's only training flights. And now I am at my runway. And I stop at this position. And now I final prepare to flights. Set my screw to stop at this position. Red lights is disengaged. I call my autopilot's panel to comfort my flights. When I set landing lights at this position, I see course of my first legs. It's 348. And now I am ready to flights. Remove the parking brakes. Set takeoff power. Takeoff power sets. Speed increasing. See it at these gauges. At 200s we can nose up. Positive rates. Gears up. Set the vertical speeds to 5 meter per seconds. Flaps up to one position. Trim the aircrafts and flaps up. Control vertical speeds. It's very big. Nearest marker we're passing. I manually flights at this time. I trim my aircrafts to 5 meter per seconds vertical speeds. And now I can connect my autopilots. And at this position of landing navigation I can turn my aircraft, set these gauges. If I this is long range maker of runways, and now I am going to my first legs of my flight plans. To navigation, not using the GPS, my first needle to orientation for NDB beacons use with gauges. If first needle with gauges points to the beacon with ahead over aircrafts, and the second needle is positioned to behind us, we are at the course line. I show it not at this time. Так, when I set my GPS and align my aircrafts to my first legs. When I alignments, I continue tutorial. Because my flight plan legs is very short. And at this moment I am at my first flight plan legs, and you see this needle show me the second beacon. It is this beacon, and this needle show me a beacon behind us. I am climbed to 6000 and flight at this altitude. I like flights at the short altitudes because the orbits show best picture, and I like see the landing picture. And we at first legs of flight plan. I forgot turn off my runway lights. Do this at this moments, and now you can set up the ventilation system, but it's not released at this model. If you need to change the angle and vertical speed, you can use switch switches. Turn it to up position to nose is down over aircrafts, or to bottom position to nose is up. At these gauges you see magnetic course of aircrafts, and at these gauges you see gyro course of these aircrafts. You can fly it using these gauges and this course. To do this, set this switch to bottom position, and the aircrafts correct the course to set of these gauges. I set my course. I set 350 course, and my aircraft at this position of the switch, going at this course I set at these gauges. Now I need to set this beacon 109.85. I pause the sim at this moment to show you this program. I set this frequency. At these gauges and course of second legs. It's 294. And now I turn to my next legs. I set my course at these gauges because I set the switch to this position. I set 294. Course, and my aircraft turn to next legs. Best landing picture of Prepare 3D. Best models of aircrafts. And now you see it with GPS. My aircraft's flying to next legs of my flight plan. To this beacon. At this moment, this VR beacons is not at the range because this distance is too large. And at this moment I press this button to hold. To hold the altitude, the current altitude. And we continue our flights. This lamp illuminates, show me the aircraft is state and hold the current flight level. The vertical speed is 0. The landing speed is 400 kilometers per hour. and my autopilots hold the course I set it with gauges in this position of landing navigation mode, changing to the switch. I increase the time at within because I not have very more time to flights. At this moment I set course of third my flight plan legs. Its course to 37. And when I set this NDB beacon frequency 349.5, and when it in range I see my current course. My first needle show me with NDB beacon when it in the range, when it's being in the range. And now I can prepare to landing. I set ILS frequency and course of my runway when I plane in the landing 110.3. I set its value with ILS frequency, and course of my runway is 23. And that's all. And we continue our flights using the same procedure to set next and next and next legs of flight plan, set the course at with gauges, and to orient us using the GPS or using with gauges. If you flying using NDB beacons, at this time you need to calculate the descents, top of descent points. I am using my calculator at 151 kilometers and 175 kilometers now. At these points, and now I set next legs. I set simulation to normal and set magnetic course of next legs. Its course I see in my calculator, or it's at Fly Sim Commander. $237. And it's my current course, and I turned it to 109 degrees. And now I set my course at Swiss gauges. And at this moment I need to realignments my course system. To do this, I set my current course at these gauges, and I'm comparing it from these gauges, and if I see the difference between this course, I need to correct these gauges, but my current flight plans is very short, and I not see the difference between this course. And if I see the difference, I set these gauges using this selector to set this course equal to this course. And now I set 208 value. It's course of this flight plan legs. I close this panel. When I see calculate so descents, and at this moment you see the star procedure. To next down to other runways, I can landing to 02 runways, and at this moment I can correct my flights using my ILS beacons. I change my flight plan, star procedure to this. Now I set course of my runway for comforted with gauges. And now I start with descent to 3000 feet. I set pressure over airports. Of arrival I press BK to immediately set this pressure. And when I set the angle of attack and set vertical speeds to 5 meter per second, I reduce my power And now my aircraft is descending. You need to control with landing speeds. If you need, you can set the beacons or nearest marker or long range beacons if it's present at the airports of arrival. And now I manually do my start procedure, standard arrival procedure. I set we switch to manual position and start the turn to my runways. And at this moment I set my flaps at 5 degrees position. Control my speeds, control my vertical speeds. And I set to hold the altitudes. I turn to my runway, oriented using by this horizontal situation indicator. If I need, I can set my runway course at this gauge is same. At this moment I set flaps 15. Gears down. I see my ILS beacon marker. I use 30 flaps to land in. And now I see my runways. I set descent mode. And set my aircraft to landing configurations. And control my flights using these gauges. Set tune to my runways. Slowly tune. And I widen my glide slope. And now I at my glide slope. Slowly winds it will approach. I paid turn my course. And my runway is front from me. At this moment I disconnect my autopilots and manually landing long range beacon. Now you see it. Remove the crew from stops. Flaps up. And I stop at this position to show you my landing. Long range beacon. Continue landing. Change the camera to nearest tower. At this moment is too far. Ten or 16 knots wind at the approach. nearest beacon. And I am at the land. And now I set the taxi lights. And taxiing to my airports. It's small airports. And taxi procedure is not long. And now I am parking at this position. Set the parking brakes. Disconnect all gauges. Turn on the lights, turn off navigation lights, beacon lights. Turn off pitot heats and other consumers. Turn off navigation system, off the generator. Turn off the radar. And now we're ready to stop the engine. And disconnect the fuel system. And if you need, you connect grounds. Units. And that's all of these flights. And goodbye.